First on my list, I want to talk about planning your trip. Now this is a very important step that a lot of people overlook. You need to have an idea what you want to accomplish on your trip and what it's going to look like months ahead of time before you actually take that trip. Now I want to mention real quick on the flip side of that is to not overdo it and plan too much for your trip. I see a lot of things going on and Disney burnout is a real thing. I get it, you spent a lot of money on this trip and you want to do everything Disney World has to offer, but you need to make sure you plan out your trip and put a little bit of rest time in there and not go crazy. Now back to what I was talking about and planning your trip correctly. I suggest you sit down and make a list of the rides that are must rides, rides that you would like to ride, and all the activities and shows you want to see. The best thing to do is schedule those must ride fast passes 60 days out, and then in between those, pick out the rides that are the other rides you want to do and try to schedule those for around the lands that you're going to be in. Great video that'll link up here on the cards in the description down below that's all about fast passes. There's a couple videos about the best fast passes, the rides not to waste your fast passes on, and any other tips and tricks I may have. So check out that playlist because I know it can help you guys on your next trip. The next thing I want to talk about on my list, and it goes hand in hand with what I just talked about, and it is rope drop. What rope drop means, it's a saying. At the very beginning of the day, they drop a rope as soon as the park opens, and you need to be there for that rope drop. You need to make it a priority to take advantage of magic hours and rope drop. This is literally the best time to get some of the biggest rides off your list with some of the longest waits. Between hitting magic hours on the days that are scheduled for certain parks and hitting rope drop on the other days for when they don't have magic hours, you can literally hit some of the rides that have 2-hour wait lines right in the morning, right off the bat. I have a video again for this that'll cover everything you need to know about rope drop and magic hours. I'll link that up here on the cards above. Next on my list, and it goes hand in hand with my last point, and that is skipping the morning sit-down breakfast. What I mean by this is don't skip breakfast entirely, but what you can do is grab a quick breakfast either at the hotel you're staying at or even in the park when you get there. What I'm trying to say is everyone loves doing breakfast with Mickey and all those kind of sit-down breakfasts, which is great. Do those definitely if they're on your list. But what I recommend is hitting rope drop and magic hours in the morning. Don't skip that. And then scheduling your lunch for mid-afternoon, say between 10 to 12. And the best part about that is between 10 and 1 is normally the busiest times between these parks. So you actually cut down on the crowds a little bit. Sit down, enjoy your breakfast, whether it's breakfast with Minnie or another scheduled restaurant that you have. Enjoy yourself, and then you come back and the park will actually be less crowded than it was if you would have stayed there. Next, I want to talk about the My Disney Experience app. I need to make sure that you guys utilize this wonderful tool that Disney provided us. I highly recommend that you download this app way before your trip and use that to schedule your fast passes and get familiar with this app because there's a lot in it. Fast Pass, dining reservations, photo pass. There is a ton you can do with this app. There's even games that you can use while waiting in line for some of the longer rides. So you need to get familiarized with this app way before your trip. One of the biggest things I highly recommend that you do with this app once you're at the park is mobile ordering. Ordering your food ahead of time can save you a lot of time instead of waiting in line for food, which is the worst thing you want to be doing on your Disney vacation. Next, and this goes hand in hand with that first tip that I gave you about planning, is making sure you schedule time off. Running around Disney for a week or however long you're there is very tiring. You are doing miles and miles of walking, running from ride to ride, trying to get all the experiences in that short trip that you have at Disney World. So what I always do and what I always recommend people doing when they schedule their vacation is to take one day off throughout the week. If you're staying for a 7-day vacation, 7 or 8 day vacation, make sure you have one full day away from the park. A, it saves money on tickets, obviously, and B, it gives you that downtime so you can have the energy to finish your trip out as successful as possible. Not to mention, if you're staying at one of the Disney World resorts, you're paying a lot of money for that resort, and you're not utilizing it all if you don't get to take time to spend by the pool or use the other amenities that some of the hotels offer. They literally spend millions of dollars designing these resort pools to have you guys use them. So get your money's worth, spend some time there. I would do like a pool day at one of the resorts and then maybe a Disney Spring trip in the afternoon, at night, get some food, walk around Disney Springs. There's a lot to do there. It's free. Again, it saves you a lot of money to take a day off, and it also gives you that energy to finish your trip strong. Last thing I want to mention is very important that I tell people when planning their trip is dealing with rain. You are coming to Florida and chances are it's going to rain at one point or another in your trip. So you need to be prepared, mentally and physically for this. You need to have the right gear. You need to have everything you need to have planned, ready to go for rain, because one of the best kept secrets is during rain, you could have some of the best experiences at Disney World. Whether it's some of the animals coming out because it's raining, and they say some of the best times at like Animal Kingdom to see the animals is when it's raining. And B, wait times. You don't have to wait in line as long because people run away when they see rain. So if there's no thunderstorms and the rides are still open, you can actually save a lot of time by sticking through the rain, having your rain gear on, and being ready to go for those rides when no one wants to wait. That being said, I want to list some of the things that I think you must bring with you if you want to survive these rainstorms and get the best experience you can. So either you're waiting in line for some of the rides during these rainstorms, or you're just using these rain gear and equipment to get you back to your hotel if you don't want to tough out the rain. One of the things that you're gonna have to have for everyone in your party is a poncho. And I suggest a good quality poncho that you purchase ahead of time. Because if you don't and you go to Disney World and it rains and you're gonna want a poncho, you're gonna pay a lot of money for a cheap disposable Disney poncho. I think for like $10 or $15 for a thin plastic poncho. So I recommend buying ponchos ahead of time. Here's some of the best products that I use and I think you should try out. Best part of that is when you use these ponchos, you can keep them for your next trip, or if you're at home. Anytime you need a poncho, they're reusable, they're great, and they hold up. Another thing I want to recommend for people with kids is stroller covers. You're going to want to have some kind of cover for your stroller to protect your kids and all your belongings. Here's some of the best ones that I've used and I think you guys should try. Another great thing is rain gear for your feet. One big thing you don't want is to have wet feet when it's raining and it's miserable and you're trying to run around. That's the worst thing. You'll have foot problems. So here's some of the best rain gear that I would recommend throwing in your bag on days you know it's gonna rain. Put them on while it's raining, and then when the sun comes back out, which it normally does pretty quickly in Florida, put your dry shoes back on and you're ready to go. So I hope all these tips help you guys to have the best magical vacation that you can have this year at Disney World. Leave down below any comments that you think of things that I've missed that can maximize someone's trip next time they go to Disney World. See you guys next time.